If you get overwhelmed in public and you can't deal with crowds, or you get a lot of anxiety just stepping outside your door, the overwhelm maybe hits you even driving down in the car, going to the grocery store just to go grab a few things. If you're that kind of person, I promise you this is going to be a video you're going to want to check out. There is so much more behind this than what most of our world has ever been taught. And most of us have never been taught much about energy. Most of us have always been taught about physical world only. Anxiety is just a part of life. Overwhelms these days just a part of life. There's a lot of information technology, all the things out there that constantly overwhelm us with information, and all the decisions we're constantly making on a day-to-day basis, not just even day-to-day, moment to moment. There's millions of choices, millions of thoughts that run through so many of our heads in such a short amount of time that we were all just taught, now this is just a part of life today. And I'm here to tell you, it's not a natural state for us, even as human, to be. If you look at our animal world and look at how many of them are able to self-regulate and not be traumatized after, a crazy experience of almost dying from a predator trying to chase them down, right? The prey, they're not traumatized after that. Somehow they're still able to just, take a few moments and move on with their day like nothing happened 30 seconds ago and that they just about died, right? So it's actually not a normal state of being for us as who we are as humans. It was kind of this conditional thing that we ended up just accepting as our world changed, but we were not ever really given a whole lot of tools necessarily to understand how to change the energetic side of that, to keep up with the changes that are actually happening in our physical world right now. We have a lot of technology that's coming in. We've got a lot of things that are wanting to take our attention and, distract us from all these different things. And you go to a restaurant today and you notice how many people are sitting on their phones, even though there's 5 people at a table, but nobody's talking. It's those things. But even if they are talking, usually somebody's taking pictures of their food, or someone's sending messages to this or that, or someone's on a phone call, even at the table. Maybe they are kind of somewhat talking between each other, but there's almost always 1 or 2 or 3, if not the majority, of people still on their phone. And so there's just this aspect of so much has been integrated, especially in the technology world, when everybody says, it moves so fast, and it does, but we've never really had time to understand the energetics behind all of the technology and how that actually impacts us as human, but also how that actually impacts us as energetic beings. And so as energetic beings, because you're not actually human, you have all this energy stored within your body and having this experience at the conscious level. But nobody has taught much until in today's world. You'll hear lots of people talk about energy now, but the thing is anxiety and overwhelm, all these things are actually not a natural state of being for human. So number one thing, stop claiming it as your own. Stop saying my anxiety, because as soon as you say my anxiety, you claim it as your part of your identity. And what happens then is your brain says, okay, well, every time we leave the house, my anxiety needs to kick into place, because that's what's normal for us now. That's become our comfort zone to certain degrees, especially if you've been dealing with that even since you were a child, or maybe it showed up when you were in your younger years. But it's still that thing. As soon as you claim it as mine, as my anxiety, my overwhelm, that's just how I am, that's just who I am, that's just how I function, you are claiming that as a belief in your own. The story becomes a belief in your own system, and that is the system that your entire conscious reality runs off of. And so by claiming it, your brain is going to recreate it every single day. Every single time you leave the house, every single time you go to the grocery store, every single time you get in the car, it's just going to start expanding. But so by the time you're even thinking about going to the grocery store, your anxiety is already kicking in, right? So it's not a normal place to necessarily have it happen. So first off, stop claiming it as yours. The second thing would be to start practicing allowing yourself to understand what anxiety actually feels like on a lower level. And what I mean by that is, usually when people recognize that it's there, it's usually very heightened at a very high speed already coming in, and it's very loud, and it's really easy recognizable, obviously, because now your body is in a full-fledged attack mode of we are in anxiety. Now, what I say is to practice feeling it at a lower level, meaning, okay, if I think about going out in a crowd, instantly when I say that, how's my body feeling right now, right? And check in with yourself, see what's going on, because your body's already giving you warning signs of saying, oh, you just gave us a thought that usually triggers anxiety, right? So by having that little bit of awareness, you'll be able to start to recognize what exactly are your larger triggers, because really going to the grocery store, that's not where it all stemmed from, right? But your body will start to tell you what the warning signs are that we're going into an anxiety, or it will also actually start to show you where you're storing it in your body as well. So the more aware you become, the more you might find out, oh wow, my legs get really tense, or my chest is like actually one of the last things that gets tense, not the first thing, right? But usually you might think of it as the first thing because that's the first thing you've noticed, because by that time it's intense to your whole body. So the awareness piece will help. Now, this third thing is we're going to talk a little bit about how to protect yourself in the energetics, because honestly, anxiety usually comes from you taking on other people's energy that's not even yours, and your body doesn't know what else to do with it. Especially if you're someone that can be at home and you're totally fine. You don't often have anxiety show up at home, but as soon as you do go out, it shows up. Guarantee you that's probably a good portion of other people's energy overwhelming your system, because your body doesn't know how to handle all that. And we're creatures now that don't like to let things go. We like to take it all on and then bottle it all up inside of ourselves. Okay. So the biggest thing is to set boundaries in the energetics. And this is what I mean by we all have teams, we all have spirit guides, we all have these beings on the other side, whether it be family that's crossed over. You have a team on the other side that's here working with you, because this is one of the toughest lives you can live. And so you didn't come here alone. You've got a team. Ask them for help. Ask them simply, this is all you need to say. I am setting an energetic boundary. Please help me uphold. When I go out in public, I have my beautiful sphere of energy around me that protects me from everybody else's energy and does not penetrate into my system. That's it. And then you ask that be set as a boundary, that every time you go out, that is what you're asking for them to uphold for you. And they will do that for you, but you need to ask. You have to ask, because we have free will and they are not allowed to cross over that. They are here to help you in your experience when you ask for that help and when you come into awareness that you need the help. All right, so give that a try. And if you have any results or anything you'd love to share, please share them in the comments. I'm always happy to hear about people's stories and their experiences.